Given the significance of terminology, we look at the concepts of anti-vax or anti-vaccine versus the concept of anti-mandate or anti-vaccine mandate. Because in today's day, these terms have a lot of a weight, but it would appear all too often that people are mischaracterizing one for the other, such that it's important to understand what each term represents so we're not confused and we're not using the wrong terminology. Now, anti-vax or anti-vaccine is really intended to mean an opposition to vaccines and vaccinations. Oftentimes, it emanates from a religious disposition. It might also emanate from one's pre-existing medical condition. There's also oftentimes a perception of risks versus reward. Should one take the vaccine? Given that there is a perception, rightly or wrongly, that certain vaccines could have deleterious side effects to individuals. And as another example, there has been a cultural history that has resulted in mistrust among some people related to the past use and misuse against certain ethnic groups. Now, this is contrasted with the term anti-mandate or anti-vaccine mandate. It is the opposition to the mandating of taking of a particular vaccine. It does not necessarily mean that there is an opposition to vaccinations, but the mandate aspect of it. So one questions the imposition from the government or one's employer as to whether or not they have the authority, whether it's legal authority, moral authority, or otherwise, to challenge their freedoms to make decisions. And these people are not necessarily opposed to vaccines. It is the principle of being forced to submit to a mandate and to comply with that mandate. So now we look at the rationale behind these positions. And they have a broad array of reasons. And we're not going to question the validity of them, we're just going to look at some of them. There is oftentimes, number one, the uncertainty as to a new vaccine. Has it been sufficiently proven, tested? What are the side effects? How has it been proceeded about? Number two, what are the potential side effects, but also what are the long-term health issues? Has this been thoroughly researched? And do you know what is being put into your body? Number three, someone who's already contracted the sickness, the virus, and therefore has antibodies that medical studies consider to be even more powerful than the vaccine, and whether one should even be taking a vaccine when they have antibodies, which are not necessarily as strong based on medical studies. Number four, the contention that one's youth and or health makes one's symptoms from a particular virus mild or relatively mild and not as impactful, especially where there is concern relative to side effects from the vaccine. Number five, concern over government and health authority misinformation or contradictory information that has a tendency to undergo significant modifications with time. So when there is a perception, rightly or wrongly, that there is a lot of ebb and flow and changes to the position, a lack of clarity as to the information that's coming out, this can be problematic. And number six, the situation is driven by politics and protecting against legal liability, as opposed to focusing purely on the science and practices that are undertaken with respect to other illnesses that could just as well be fatal. So these are some of the concepts that one needs to consider and is being considered with respect to both the concept of what is anti-vax versus what is anti-mandate or anti-vaccine mandate. Because there are two specifically different terms. having different meanings and very different connotations that need to be properly treated and considered. Thank you.